We know back in 2016 in the Centenario, the two came together, CONMEBOL and CONCACAF. There's been some talk of whether that should happen more often. What are your thoughts on it to make it maybe more interesting?
Absolutely. Let's just talk about Gold Cup for a second. You see this Gold Cup and what you can actually win and what you get out of it. I mean, so much so that Greg Berhalter said, you know what, I'm going to leave my star players at their clubs to do preseason. No Weston McKennie, no Christian Pulisic, no Tyler Adams, no Zach Steffen, et cetera, et cetera. I'd rather see these players focus on winning a spot on their team in their respective club seasons. He sent out a C team. You don't get that half a ticket or that ticket to what is a Confederations Cup for winning. The prize money isn't that great. So oftentimes teams don't take it as seriously. The players don't take it as seriously about going. They choose to not go. Keylor Navas doesn't participate in what is the Gold Cup. But if we're talking Centenario, like that 2016 tournament, that Copa America that's over 100 years old, that when it came to the United States and had the Centenario combined tournament, broke records, viewership records, attendance records. It had an average attendance of each game of over 40,000 spectators per game there. It's just a no-brainer. When you look at the CONMEBOL qualifying, it's 10 teams, and these 10 teams always seem to play each other. When you look at what's Copa America, I mean, you went through a whole round, 20 games to eliminate two teams, Venezuela and Bolivia, to then do it again. It just seems redundant. It seems like there's a lack of interest for what is a sector that, one, has great stars, and two, there is a market for. You look at the combined market of North America, if you include Canada, if you include the States, if you include Mexico, to what is Copa America and those teams, Brazil, Argentina, and its figures like Messi and Neymar, it's a no-brainer. I think it makes sense on many levels. And if you want to rival what the Euros are, which would be very difficult because that's going to be the best tournament when it comes to playing football at the national team level, not the World Cup. It's going to be the Euros for the amount of quality that they will have. If you want to rival that, don't make it a 10-man tournament. That's the same thing as qualifying in Copa America. And don't make it a diluted Gold Cup where some teams aren't even interested in sending out their best team.
Yeah, and obviously with the Copa America, you're having to invite teams to make up the numbers. What do you think, Stevie? Is it a no-brainer for you as well?
Well, it is a no-brainer. And quite frankly, everybody knows from a competitive standpoint it would be better. But guess what? Somebody's going to lose out financially. That's the only reason. And I'm going to guess that it's CONCACAF teams. Otherwise, this tournament would happen. So it's got nothing to do with what's best for football. It's got nothing to do with anything other than money. And I'm willing to bet my mortgage that somebody's not going to get a big enough share of the pie, and that's why they don't do it. No other reason.
What would you say about that, Jules? Do you think that's the reason that they're not doing this?
I think that could be a reason, although I'm sure that if we get a joint tournament, Mexican television will pay more money to have this super new tournament involving Mexico and Argentina and Brazil and Chile and all those teams. Same with US televisions as well. So you can expect the TV right money to go up, which means more money to spread between all those teams. For me, I agree with the boys. It's a no-brainer, 100%. And this is the time to do it now. You could have the 10 South American teams. You can have Mexico and the US, and then the other 4 spots, let's say, to make it 16. The other 4 spots. You have a little tournament between the other CONCACAF teams, and then you get 4 of that tournament, and you have 16. And it makes far more sense for everyone to have that kind of competitiveness, to have more games that actually are a value. Because as Herc said, this Copa America is a wonky format. You know, you go into the group stages just to eliminate 2 teams. It makes no sense whatsoever. Although we watch it, but it makes no sense. 16 teams, it makes far more sense for everyone. Probably potentially more money, and certainly far interesting for the fans, for the players, for the managers, for TVs, for everyone.
I think Jules just answered my question on my point. Because if you're only going to take 4 over to CONMEBOL, hold on a second, all these other teams that are going to play in this, even though Gold Cup is a Mickey Mouse tournament, this is going to be a double Mickey Mouse without the US and without Mexico, and so they're going to get no money. Nobody's going to be interested. Nobody's going to go it. TV companies are not going to buy it. So there's your answer, because then all those federations are part of CONCACAF, and they won't be given any vote to go to CONMEBOL.
That's the issue, isn't it, Stevie? That's always seems to be the issue when it comes to splitting up. How do you split up the pie? How do you divide that pie? Because if you look at Libertadores, which is probably the biggest tournament at the club level in this hemisphere, the reason that Mexican clubs don't go isn't because they haven't done well in this tournament. It's because television rights, the split of the pie, the amount of money. And if we look at Copa America Centenario, I mean, the U.S. Soccer Federation made a net profit of $46 million. So if you're CONMEBOL, you're thinking, hold on a second. This is all good, but I don't want this much of my pie going over here. So I'll keep it here. I will keep it here, and don't worry about attendance. Don't worry about which teams are in, and it's business as usual. Nothing happens because I'm going to make the money for us. We're going to make the money and not split it up, because if you have Mexico and you have the U.S., which are huge markets, television markets, that pie, that slice gets reduced.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.